I'm retired, so what do I do all day? Today I will explain the design principles for making deep inlay turned bowls. The machining is done using a CNC router and finished on a wood lathe. Please see my other videos for some examples of this process. Now I have developed this process myself, but I'm always open to constructive comments and recommendations to improve it. So what exactly are we trying to achieve? This process is for making a bowl or plate that has an inlaid pattern in it. I use the VCarve inlay toolpath functionality, but for deep inlays you really need to understand the tool geometry. This does not apply to designs that use pieces machined using just standard end mills. I will now show you some examples of what we're trying to achieve. This is a weave design using ash with a sapele inlay. This is only 150mm in diameter, but it's quite intricate. This is a honeycomb design using ash with a Meranti inlay, and at 300mm diameter it's slightly bigger than the previous one. On the left hand side you can see there's a separate B inlay which is 4mm deep using Dulatong and rosewood. This is the first time I've attempted a separate inlay on top of the deep inlay, and I was really pleased with the results. This is a Celtic knot design using oak with the Meranti inlay and is also 300mm in diameter. Note how the 15-degree V-bit makes the pattern narrower on the top than the bottom. This is one of my favourite bowls. This is a swirl design from Ash and Meranti, quite small at 150mm but quite eye-catching. This is not an inlay. These bowls are made from individual pieces, machined to full depth and then glued together. So it uses a straight cutter, not a V-bit. This bowl is also not an inlay. This is a segmented design made from ash, cherry, walnut and ebony at around 300mm. The pieces have been machined individually and then glued together. And with this, accuracy is everything. Now, although it's not an inlay, you can see from the left-hand side, you could still not do this by hand because you have the star with the inserted ebony. And this is something which is not possible other than using a CNC machine. So now we need to talk machining toolpaths. Here we have a lattice design using ash with a sapele inlay at around about 150mm in diameter. On the left you can see the pocket made from ash and the corresponding plug made out of sapele. So these are then glued together and clamped and give us our blank that we can then turn on the lathe to give the bowl on the right hand side. And this really gives us a sense of how accurate machining parameters are absolutely critical to get a good fit with good glue lines and no gaps. This is an example of when my accuracy failed. I took a shortcut and the CNC inlay became misaligned to the chuck recess on the underneath of the bowl. It is not immediately apparent, but the human eye can pick it up, even though in this case the inlay is only 2mm off center. The inlay is done from the bottom of the bowl. It must be deep enough to be able to turn through the glue gap. On the schematic here, it shows the main blank and how the bowl profile sits within it. And the machining is done from the bottom of the bowl so that the plug can be pushed in from the bottom. Let's have a look at plug and pocket inlays. Now there are lots of very good YouTube videos explaining how to do VCarve inlays, so I won't do that here. But for deep inlays using certain tools, you need to understand how the geometry affects the fit. If we look over on the right hand side, you can see a typical setup where you have a plug and a pocket, and the key aspects are the pocket depth, the glue gap, the surface gap and the pocket angle. And of course the pocket angle is defined by the tool that you are using. We need to use low angle tools to do deep inlays, and this gives us some challenges. What you can see here is a typical low angle V-bit tool, and this one is a 6 by 15 by 0.3, and that means it's got a 6mm shank with a 15-degree angle and has got a 0.3mm flat on the end. Now of course 0.3mm isn't very much, but in the context of doing deep inlays it's quite significant, and gives us in effect a virtual point on the end of the tool. The vcarve inlay toolpath function assumes that the tool has a point, which bigger V-bits do have, and the ones you're probably more familiar with are the 45, 60 and 90 degree tools. But this 15 degree cutter has a 0.3mm flat on the end, rather than a point. Not much, but enough to matter, and it has therefore a virtual point, as we've already mentioned. So when you set the tool Z height on the CNC router, the cutting edges are lower than the software assumes. The result is more material removed than expected, giving a bigger hole and a smaller plug. You cannot allow for this in the software, and I've actually written to Vectric to find out if this could be put in to the function, and they said no. So with some simple maths, we can work out the length of the virtual point. For the cutter that we just looked at, this gives us the virtual point of 1.14 millimeters. So the cutter is 1.14 millimeters lower than expected. Now this is doubled due to the pocket and the plug being affected in the same way. So the total effect on the inlay is 2.28 millimeters, and the glue and surface gaps will reduce accordingly. Let's look at a similar tool with a ball nose. If we assume that we have a 15-degree angle tool with a 0.25 millimeter radius tip, that gives us our virtual point X as being 1.89 millimeters. But we have to now allow for the radius of 0.25 millimeters, and so the cutter is 1.64 millimeters lower than we expect. Again, this is doubled due to the pocket and the plug being affected in the same way. So the total effect on the inlay is 3.28 millimeters, and the glue and surface gaps will reduce accordingly. Here is the real example of the 15-degree 6mm cutter with the 4mm surface and glue gap that we've just calculated. Remember the 2.28mm effect, which is due to the tool flat. If we call 2.28 2.3, that gives us a theoretical actual gap of 4 minus 2.3, or 1.7. Now on this video you can see an example from one of my other bowls that I made, where we have exactly that setup. And you can see here that it measures out at 1.66 or 1.7. So the theoretical values really play out in practice to give us exactly as we've calculated. Here are some examples based on the tools that I have. The virtual point length varies quite a bit depending on angles and the end type. So I always review the exact application and choose an appropriate tool for the job. So now let's summarize a little bit. Deep inlays require typically low angle tools that can have either flats or ball noses. The vcarve inlay toolpath function doesn't allow for flats or radius tips within the software. If you ignore this, your inlays will not be tight. So for each application, you must take this into account when setting up your CNC. This technique is limited to the maximum machining depth of the tool and your CNC Z clearance. Now machining is time consuming, so only go as deep as you need to. Now that was a very quick run through of the design principles for deep inlay bowl machining, but I hope that you found it interesting and useful. If you do have a CNC, have a go at a deep inlay bowl and see what you can create. I really appreciate any questions or suggestions. Thank you for watching. Now you know a bit more of what I do all day. Like and subscribe to find out some more.